we're gonna talk about gang banging. I don't mean women, I mean gangsters banging. I really don't think banging is permittable today. You shouldn't gang bang.
Kids talking gang talk, walking gang walk.
You never know what another person been through till you really find out what it do. Choices.
Kids talking gang talk, walking gang walk.
You never know what another person been through till you really find out what it do. Choices.
Look, today's slightly different from the 80s. Separated from greatness, killing up all the babies. Sickening and so degrading, cripping and blood daily. Never gonna let this save me. Your bullets done hitting graves. Me still standing, amazing, suffering complications and contemplating, debating, time for retaliation. You new to this banging, you're quick to join in the game when you don't even know the half about what set you be claiming. All these new fools, new crews, bloody blue shoes, so woo. Hang yourself with a loose noose, no truth. You the fool if you don't hear when it's real. You plan to deal with your life, one day you bound to get killed. I done walked through the hood, seen a
Wait, tattoos all on my face. Hey, I can see in their face. I know I'm pop. We know you not. Joker, gang. You hear the lie.
You say you gang, 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 but we don't know your name. We been had the clout, we been had the fame. We been getting money, we making it rain. This here no joke, we don't need a scope. Everyone talking, but we never broke. I carry the weapon when I go outside, man, don't try to provoke. You go down like a slope. Wait, we got tats on our face. We got straps on our waist. Getting money, we straight. I know they hating, I know they plotting. I let them all watch. Can't ever do what we do. I put my pain in tattoos.
Wait, tattoos all on my face. Hey, I can see in their face. I know I'm pop. We know you not. Joker, gang. You hear the lie. I make it spin like the wheel. I really been in the field. Money no chill. Get on the beat and I drill. All of us ready to kill. Drum on the key for the thrill. I get it straight out the seal. I don't give a fuck how you feel. I've been outside, that's for real. I get it straight out the seal. I don't give a fuck how you feel. I've been outside. Inside, you don't know how I feel. I'm ready for war. I got the Drake, I'm ready to pop. You staring at me cause I know I got face tats. But you scared to run up and do something about it cause I shoot broad daylight. I don't give a fuck. Wait. Tattoos all on my face. Hey, I can see in their face. I know I'm pop. We know you not. Joker, gang. You hear the lie.
Yes, sir. We're here. Much love and respect to every single one of you guys coming in and tuning in and chilling with your boys. Appreciate you more than you guys know. We've got myself and the legendary Archbishop. Unfortunately, he is muted at the moment, so we can't hear him. But hey, you know, we're here to party with you. Shoot, man. So why are you muted? I can't unmute you. There we go. Yo, what's going on, Steve? What's going on with everybody, man? So we got the man, the myth, the legend right here, Archbishop. How you doing,
What's going on, my man? What's going on?
There you go.
Well, as everybody know, I usually say, "What up, though?
What up, though?" That's right.
Happy New Year to everybody. You know what I mean? It was we done came through 23 unscathed, even though it's all the everything possibly craziness that went on. We done managed to get through. So thank God for that. And hopefully 24 will be a lot better.
That's right. You know, though, you know, it seems like a lot of gnarliness happened during 2023. We're still here. We survived, you know, and that's 100% successful rate or survival rate. So listen, man, it's all, I guess it's all in the way you look at these things, you know, whether it's like the half glass full or empty. For me, I don't look at it either way. At least I still got my cup. You know what I mean? So I look at it a little bit different, that I'm still just standing here.
Right.
So,
well, you know, 23, that was I lost a lot of important people.
Did you? Damn it.
23. A lot of good friends, people that I considered family.
Right.
So it was a lot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then I mean, just 23 as a whole. I'm glad it went by as fast as it did because it sucked.
Yeah, it did. It did. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you on that. That's why I look at it as like, oh man, we're lucky to just be here alive, that we made it. It's almost unreal because 23 was not the best of year, I think, for a lot of people. And it's about how we're able to, push through. And it's hard because, for instance, we were just talking about that. Imagine you had a really rough year and then you're supposed to like enjoy the holidays, and that's usually some hard times for people that are going through hard things in life. It's hard to celebrate during those kind of times, especially when it's hard financially too. There's a ton of reasons for that. But on today's episode, we're kind of talking about exactly this, how we go from average to amazing. And it's not just that, because you have a whole dialogue on this, but I love that we're able to kind of link this to even our mental health aspect, because that's realistically, I mean, how do we become amazing? We have to literally conquer all of these like insane things that have happened to us, right? Whether they're traumatic or whatever that happens in your life, you have to be able to overcome that somehow. And usually that comes with your mental health.
Correct. And it's there's a lot of different facets to this, you know what I mean? But like when I was thinking about this the other day, I was thinking about it more or less like this, like put this in your mind for a second. Going from 23 to 24, what's the first thing everybody do? They set a New Year's resolution. This is what this is what I'm going to do for 24. I'm not going to deal in nobody's drama. I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And, it always gets to, they actually start out good. It starts out good.
Intentions are good.
Right. And you get about 3-4 good months in, and then it'll start going downhill. And then eventually before, July, August, you right back to where you was at. And, you waiting for another couple more months so you can try it again. But the reason, we're going to talk about the reason why that happens. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about a couple more things too. You know what I mean? But let me get an audience something to think about here. Okay. And just work with me a little bit. Now, do you feel like there's something just missing in your life? Seriously. I mean, are you tired of feeling like just this average person? And if you answer yes to any one of those questions, then you know that it's time for you to embrace your inner badass and transform yourself into something awesome. Now, don't get it mistaken. Being a badass doesn't mean that you have to be reckless or do anything disrespectful. Rather, it means being confident in your abilities, unleashing your power, and standing up for what you believe in. And overall, just living life to its fullest. So today, on the Dominant Effect, we're going to explore how to tap into that inner badass so that you can become the best version of yourself that you can use both in your personal, your professional, your MC life, and everything in general. So we're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna share a few little things. We're gonna throw out some tips. We're gonna talk about a few things. But if you pay attention, you're gonna learn something.
Absolutely, man. I like that. I told you guys he had a whole monologue for this. I love it. No, and I love it because it's true, man. And it can go down to your family life, your everyday life, and it's basically our daily habits. I've said this before, but if you want a better world, you need to you need to actually focus on your habits. If you change your habits, then your daily habits, you will change your life tremendously, but people don't understand that, oh, I'll just do this, I'll just do this, I'll eat that. Whatever the case is, a lot of it is pretty reckless. And we obviously are having a lack of discipline in our society. That's a fact.
But you know what the biggest thing is? Now let's go back. Now, like you remember earlier when I was talking about people like they make the New Year's resolution and they want to go to the gym, they want to get themselves together, they want to get back in shape, they want to, like I want to do better with my relationship this year,
Right.
or I want to do better at my job this year, or whatever. And then it doesn't work out. And then you wonder the reason why it doesn't work out. Okay. So here's the thing. The thought was good. You was in the mind, you was in the right frame going into it as to what you wanted to do. But your problem was that your mindset never changed.
Mm-hmm.
Now what I mean by that is that if you, let me see, what's the best way to say that? I got one for you. Think about it like this. If you want to do something that you never done, you got to do something you never did, which means you got to change your mindset. You got to change your whole way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You got to get away from the status quo. You got to get away from the comfort, what you used to doing. You know what I mean? Because if you ain't used to going to the gym every day, you used to sitting at home, then guess what? Eventually you're going to work your way back around to where you're sitting at home again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's true.
You got to change the overall mindset of it, to where it has to be important. Now, like I'll give you an example. I quit smoking back in September. Now, mind you, I like to smoke. You know what I mean? I smoked for years. Smoking was my best friend, especially when I was pissed off or angry or whatever. Smoking was my number one thing because that was my calm down to keep me from, going the fuck off on people.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. I had to make up in my mind that I had to quit. You know what I mean? And for years I kept saying, man, you know what? I need to quit smoking. Or somebody would say, hey man, that's bad for you. And I'd be like, yeah, I know. And then steady lighten up. You know what I mean? It's like I knew it was wrong, but I didn't care. The reason why I didn't care was because that was providing a service for me. That was my comfort. So it came down to I had to go to the doctor one day, and they said that they had found something, and they were doing all these tests and all this stuff. And mind you, that makes you think about a lot of things, because now you realize that this is real. You know what I mean? When for all these years you thought you was Superman, that this wasn't going to happen to me, and then now boom, you going through it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but by the glory of God, though, that's not what it was. And the test that they did after that proved that no, that wasn't what we thought it was. It was something else totally different, and you good.
Wow.
Praise God for that. But it made me think about a lot of things, though.
I'm sure of that.
Right. And one of my biggest things was that I didn't want to not be around and not see my kids grow up. Like I don't have grandkids yet. I mean, I'm 48 years old, but I don't have grandkids yet.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to see grandkids. I want to be able to spoil them and give them and fill them up with suckers and send their ass home for that way they can bounce off the walls at their own house.
Yeah, over there.
I want to be I want to be Paw Paw. You know what I mean? I want to be able to share those stories. But I knew that with what I was doing, every day that I was smoking, I was taking away a day on the back end.
Yep.
So I had to quit. And mind you, this was back September. I think it was September 10th is when I actually stopped. But I haven't smoked since then.
Wow, good on you. Good.
I got this little thing here, and actually, this right here, this is made by a company with vegetarians. There's no nicotine in it whatsoever. It's just natural flavor. That's it. You kind of go through the motion of that you're doing something. You ain't doing the jack.
Yeah, you ain't doing nothing. It's just you're doing the hand to mouth motion essentially.
Right. And most of the time, I don't even mess with it. You know what I mean? But it's just the fact that
That's
just
good.
happened. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But see, but that kind of goes along with it, though. You know what I mean? You have to change your mindset, because if you
Yep.
don't, you just going through the motions.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you said, kind of like when a doctor presents you something that, well, shoot, the doctors can't fix it. So then what? And I've kind of been in a different scenario, traumatic wise. And that's something that, on this topic, kind of like how you were forced to change your mindset with the smoking ordeal when you got, news that there was something in you in your body. Same thing with me, except it was like force. Like when I went through my incident, it was like right then and there, I had the option to be either like still in my own head, or stunted, or if I was going to actually grow from this quickly, or at all. And I got very lucky that my mindset did its own thing. And it luckily, by the grace of God as well, that I'm alive, but it changed my mindset dramatically. I literally wake up now every single morning, and this is not even a joke. I wake up every single morning thanking God I woke up. Ever since March 6th of 2021, every single day that I wake up, it's like thankful, and I don't know how many people really do that, because when you wake up like that, grateful for human life in itself, then literally everything else is a home run. Everything else is a bonus, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. I went from like almost one side to the other, and it forced me to grow a few years, I feel like.
Hmm. Now, when I was going through this, setting this up for this show, and I was reading up on a lot of stuff, and one of the things that I had read on there was that just like the first thing you have to do in embracing your inner badass is actually going through, like, tapping into your unique strengths, like what it is that you're good at. You know what I
Right.
mean? What is it, like, what passions you have, the talents you have. And sometimes that means having to step outside your comfort zone and going against your limitations,
Right.
whether it's society, home, or whatever, to see what place you fit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, like I said, it was a lot of stuff that I was sitting here reading up on, and it was like the more you get into it, the deeper it gets.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like once you get into that how can you say, I know this ain't a word, but your inner badassness, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's not a word, but of course. But from what I was reading, is basically like you radiate confidence and charisma, and you, like, opportunities attract, and basically the universe opens up to you. If you know what I mean,
Right.
if some of my viewers understand what I mean by that.
Is that
Uh
kind of like the law of
basically,
attractiveness?
yeah, some
Law
part,
of
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta, one thing you gotta realize today, you gotta be you gotta recognize who your star player is. And then, that's the biggest thing. Recognize who your star player is. And a lot of people just like to do the regular, just run of the mill thing. Like every day, I do the same thing. I get up, I go to work, I come home, I eat dinner, I watch TV, I go to bed, I go to
Right.
work. And like, a lot of this happens. I mean, with men and women, but uh, after a while, that just becomes the general day to day. Like, you don't strive to go to do nothing else, because that's
It's just
that's
now
all this.
it's mundane, and now you're content with that.
Right, right. It's like it's not harming nothing. Like, no harm, no foul, or whatever. You know what I mean? And let's say, like, you was in a relationship, for instance, and you was in that relationship for 10, 15 years or whatever. Doing the regular status quo. Now let's just say, God forbid, something happens, and you back to the streets again. You know what I mean? You back to the streets. Now, you may have been in this relationship for 10, 15 years. Society was steady changing the whole time. Everything changed. Your whole, I mean, your whole dating habit to change. How you talk to people change. How you come at people change. What do you do on the dates change? Like everything changes. You know what I mean? And now you in your late 40s, early 50s, and you trying to realize like, okay, I kind of let myself go all these years because I didn't have to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or what
Wasn't
is it I'm gonna
forced.
do now? Right. Or what is it I'm gonna do now? You know, um, and all this is kind of a part of it. You know what I mean? Because it's just certain things that you just can't just put to the back burner. Sometimes you got to be greedy with yourself and treat yourself. You
Damn
know,
right. Yeah, absolutely. No, and also when you said, you play a role, there's something that an old analogy that I was told a long time ago that is something that resonated with me forever. And finding your role, the thing is for instance, let's say this, a normal table, a tabletop, let's say you're the star in the aspect of whatever. Instead of it, me trying to compete for that stardom or whatever, well, what you do is you play a role. You know what I mean? And so, what does a table do? Well, the golden ticket, where we're all going to eat off of, is the table, right? Well, you're the tabletop. Well, how is the tabletop going to be up here for us to eat at? Well, there's these legs that support it, right? So you have to know when to go into a support role or when you're going to be the golden ticket role, let's just say. You know what I mean? And you have to know your strengths and weaknesses in that as well. But you also have to be confident in what you do. Then like that's what you were saying. Confidence is kind of key in this aspect. And also, it's not just confidence. You have to have the understanding up here as well. You can't just have confidence, and you actually have to know what you're doing. So yeah, absolutely.
right. I mean, there's a lot more to it. You know, um, here's the thing. Um, really, a lot of times people don't know who they really are. I know that sounds weird to say, but people don't know who they really are, meaning you don't know what all you really have in you because you never had to do it.
Hmm.
You never pushed yourself to that limitation to even see what your limitations are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes people say, like this is above my pay grade, or
Hmm.
you know what I mean, but when you're dealing with yourself, is there actual limitations? You know what I mean? Now you know that you got your limitations set on how far you want to go.
Hmm.
That's just where you want to go. How much can you actually do?
Right. Because
I mean,
that could be this small of a radius when in reality you can do this much. It's
exactly,
all relative to what you know.
exactly.
Absolutely. And
And,
if you've
and a
never
lot
been
of
tested, you won't know.
exactly. You know what I mean? So, like I said, that goes back to what I said. In order to do something you've never done, you got to do. You know what I mean? You got to be able to stretch above and go beyond what you feel your regular limitations are. You know, you got to go just a little bit harder. You know what I mean? I know, like dealing like in the military or even at work. And like I said, one of the guys on here, Steve, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. When we used to work for this company that we were glazers. So we put frames and glass in commercial buildings, skyscrapers.
Damn.
You name it, we did it. So you may do a job today that you sitting on the ground, and for the next year you may do a job where you 19, 20, and 21 stories up.
Damn.
You know, now if that don't test your limitations, nothing will.
Hmm.
Because you sitting on the side of a building. The only thing that's holding you on the side of the building is two steel cords that's up on the roof, and you hauling up, 300 pound glass, putting in, hauling in frames, putting them in. You dealing with wind and everything else.
Forget
You know what I mean?
about that. That's crazy.
Right, right. Now that's a job that a lot of people would not do. You know what I mean? And it takes you got to have balls of steel to do it. You know what I mean? Because it
Fact.
takes that. Now, when I first got to that job, though, nobody told me I had to do that. Nobody said that I had to do that. So I get to this building, I look up, and I'm like, okay, you know, I see y'all doing that. Okay, so where I need to go? And they going along the side of the building, and they gave me a harness to put on, and I'm like, okay, well, what's that for? Well, you about to get on that stage right there.
You going up.
Okay, so what's that? You'll see. Put me on the stage. shoot me up 18 stories. You know what I mean? Now I'm sitting up there, knees shaking like drugstore dice.
Yep. That's what mine would do too.
Yeah, because I ain't never been up there. I mean, I ain't never been up on the side of no damn building before. You know what I mean? Wind blowing, you going side to side, everything else. You don't know what you're doing.
Oh man.
But after a while, though, I got good at it. You know what I mean? Now this, like I said, this is a job that I never thought I was going to see myself doing. You know what I mean? And not only did I do that job, but I ended up becoming a foreman for that job later on because of knowing how to do that
Exactly
job.
how to do it. Yeah, how to
You know
execute.
what I mean? Right. So like I said, you had to go over your limitations. You know what I mean? And that job there completely took you over your limitations.
Now, question. Now, within all this, how does one start to, I don't know, accept or go beyond that point? Because we say that comfort is the issue, right? And a lot of the times we're forced into these issues. So is it better that we put ourselves in positions to force us to grow? How does this work? Or are we able to be headstrong and go, okay, I need to be able to start doing this more and more, because not everybody has that kind of discipline.
Right. Well, the first thing you got to do, you got to basically become a lab rat to yourself.
Right.
What I mean by that is you got to examine yourself. You got to experiment with yourself. You know what I mean? And you got to, because you got to think about like this. You only use about 25% of your inner self. So you got 75% that's locked away. You know what I mean? Chained up for whatever reason. You know what I mean? And if you don't actually, jump into that 75 and pull some of that out, that's where your guts and your willpower, your courage and your self-determination and your very soul sits there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So everybody has it. You know what I mean? You just gotta be able to pull it out. You know what I mean? And it's not a one-time fix, like, okay, you do this and this is what's gonna happen.
Right.
There's a process there. You know what I mean? But the first part of the process, though, is that you have to set it up for yourself. Like, okay, this is what's going on. I know that I need to change, and I'm willing to make those changes. You know what I mean? Once you accept that part, then you can start moving through the next steps in order to achieve that.
Got you. No, it's interesting as all hell, for sure.
I mean, like, think about it like this. Think about it on the MC scene. How can you be a successful president if you never led?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Now you know that you actually have presidents though that ain't never led shit.
It happens more time than I'd like to admit, to be real.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. They ain't even lead themselves to the corner store.
Right.
But you got them in those, but you got them in those spots. Now these people have to set the example. You know what I mean? Because you lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna have my people do anything that I'm not gonna do myself, or I'm not willing to do myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now, my job is that if you are lacking in some way, and I know that this is what you're lacking on, then it's my job to fix that, or to try to fix that. You know what I mean? To try to get you to the point, like, you know how you can help somebody fix something, but they actually fix it themselves, but it's just based on you being around and showing them certain things that kind of strengthens them to the point that they do it.
Well, is that constructive criticism, or is that just leading by example and doing those things in front of them?
Well, actually both.
Okay.
Actually both.
Right on.
A lot of people can't take criticism.
That's the hard. That was going to be my second part to that question, is what about those people that can't take criticism? Because there are a lot of people, especially my generation, that cannot handle any type of criticism.
A lot can't take criticism because, I mean, the generations have changed.
Yes.
They've changed a lot, and I think the more time goes on, these generations are getting softer.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know, like, my generation is kind of like the end of the roughnecks.
Yep.
Like, everybody else after then, questionable. You know what I mean? Some of them all right. Some of them, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Trust me, you're right.
So, but you know, the first thing is, like I said, you lead by example. You know, don't just talk about it, be about it. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna watch you and they're gonna
Facts.
see what you're doing. You know what I mean? And if you out here and you on the line and you holding the line and you showing them how to hold the line, you know, then when it's their turn to do it, they ain't gonna have no problem doing it because they seen you do it. They
Right.
know how to do it now. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, the biggest thing about a lot of this stuff is fear.
I mean,
You
it
know,
makes sense. Fear is a
that's the
big
biggest
player
thing.
in everything.
Right. You know what I mean? But you got to understand what fear means. You know what I mean? So fear means false emotions appearing real.
Wow.
So
Okay. Yep.
so if you understand what fear means, you know two things. Number one, you can overcome fear. Number two, fear is a powerful tool as long as you know how to use it.
Hmm.
And if you can use it correctly, you can move mountains. You know,
Right.
like you see the one dude on TikTok or whatever, he says all the time, he said, I don't need 20, 30 people. I just need 5 motherfuckers. And them 5 motherfuckers that we can take over this whole country.
Right.
Why? Because they do not have fear. They understand what fear means. And they know how to use it. You know,
It's like
that's the
channeling it.
thing. Overcome your fear. You overcome your fear. You face your fear. Anything else after that, you can manage.
Damn. You know, and that kind of breaks down into, I mean, subsection, but like anxiety and depression. And it's not always the same, but anxiety is worrying too much about the future. Depression, you're too worried about the past. And so, yeah, being able to conquer any type of fear that you've got, I mean, I see that as a roadblock, right? And where you're stopping yourself on limitation. Now, if you lift that, oh my God, I can only imagine the things that you can do when you conquer those fears. Because I
Oh,
faced some of my fears head on, and it made me turn into the person I am today because of it. So, you know, I mean, who isn't scared to, for instance, die? I mean, there's a lot of people that are scared to die. Well, it was kind of interesting after my whole ordeal. I mean, I died 4 times in the hospital, internally bleeding, externally bleeding, over 20 emergency blood transfusions. So a lot of things to keep me alive. And it was weird. By the end of it, it's like I'm not scared of death, but at the same time, that's not what I want. It's not what I want at all. But now it's like almost like I cheated it. It's interesting how that works in my head, anyways. But yeah, I can only imagine lifting all those things. You're going to have a floodgate of opportunities of things that you can do. Like you said, reaching that 75%, not just sticking in that 25%, right?
right. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You gotta jump out and you gotta try yourself. That's why I
Right,
said like earlier, like you gotta become your own lab rat. You know what I mean? You gotta try and see what works for you.
right.
You know what I mean? And get that and get it the way you want it. You know what I mean? Because you think now a lot of that fear comes from what? Self-doubt. Okay. And self-doubt is one of getting over self-doubt is one of the most crucial parts of transforming this. You know what I mean? Why? Because people struggle with negative thoughts and beliefs that hold them back from reaching
Hmm.
their actual full potential. So getting that self-doubt out the way, that's also key. You know what I
You know
mean? So
what's
you
crazy though
can
is I'm kind of
that's that.
recognizing this fear. A lot of the fears that are put into us, I'm not going to say all of them, of course not, but a lot have actually been given to us by our parents as well throughout the way that we've been raised as well. So that everything, like you're saying, it's going to be individualistic per person. You know, there's going to be different steps and different ways. It's not like you said, you can't just focus on this and then all of a sudden everything's great. You know, no, there's multiple things, and you're right. You do have to be a lab rat in a sense to be able to figure out these things about yourself. I mean, you have to push yourself to those limits, anyways.
Mm-hmm. No, right, absolutely. So, you know, so once you get through, like you said, your fear and your self-doubt, that runs hand in hand. And that can go from, like you said, that can go all the way back from childhood.
Right.
I mean, how you was raised, the stuff that you went through. Not everybody went through the same things.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, some people's childhoods they can say was, you know what I mean, like, great, I love my childhood. Some people can say that was the worst thing that happened in my life, depending on the stuff that went on
Facts.
with.
Yep.
You know, so some have some people's closets is deeper than most.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes the demons in your past is a lot bigger than others.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So that's a big thing. You know what I mean? But like I said, only you know what that is. You know what I mean? So um, overcoming overcoming that is one key thing. But one of the big things to overcoming that is that you have to realize one thing. Now, let's say that this is something that happened years ago, or even something that happened when you was a child. You know, you gotta number one, you gotta understand that you gotta accept the things that you cannot change.
Facts.
You can't
Yes.
sit there.
Mm-hmm.
You really can't sit there and you in your 40s and you dwelling about something that happened in your teens. You know
Right.
what I mean? Now I know that's easier said than done, but think about this. What is it doing for you? What is it doing for you? Other than keeping you in
It's holding you back.
this spot. Right. Other than keeping you in this spot right here, what is it doing for you? Nothing. Nothing. It's a
Yep.
hindrance. You know what I mean? It's something that's weighing you down. It's kind of like that crab in the bucket mentality. You
Totally.
steady trying to climb out this bucket, but everything that you went through and all that pulled you back.
And you're
You know,
allowing it to pull you back. That's
right,
the thing.
right. And you know what I mean? And sometimes, you know what I mean, that goes from whether something went on in your personal life, failures, stuff that you didn't try that just didn't work. Sometimes you have to take that failure and make that the stepping stone to where you're going.
Well, you absolutely have to. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard this phrase, but you have to hit the L's before you hit the M's. I've always heard that. You got to hit those L's first before you reach those M's, and it's very true. I don't know any person, any entrepreneur, or anything in any aspect of life that had a goal, a vision, and did it the very first time and it was super successful. No, like there is so many failures that go in on, I mean, we could look at the most successful people in the world. They have had the major failures. And if they allowed those failures to stop them, imagine like Amazon wouldn't be here, Apple wouldn't be here, Microsoft wouldn't, just everything, the internet, stuff like that. It's amazing. You're right on this. You're dead right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, like I said, you got to use anything that you can use as a tool to go forward. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? You just have to. Now, like I said, I'm not saying that them demons still ain't holding on to you while you're going, but you steady shutting them off as you're pushing through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is what is basically what I'm getting at. You
Right.
know, I told a guy the other day because those of you who don't know, I'm a barber. That's why I stay fresh all the time. Now, this guy asked me, like, man, like, how long you been cutting hair? Well, I've been cutting hair for 30 years. It was like, really? I'm like, but I mess up all the time. He was like, you mess up all the time. He said, no, I can't tell because I'm always right when you get me. I said, no, you gotta understand. Every barber messes up on every single person's hair that they do.
Mm.
The difference between me and somebody else is that I know how to fix what it was I messed up.
Mm-hmm.
You
Can you
have
do
no idea.
that?
You know what I mean? Where a lot of people can't. That's the only difference. You know what I mean? Time, which tells you what? Time fixes things.
Mm.
Sometimes time is your great tool. You know what I mean? Sometimes being by yourself is the best tool ever. You know, like some people don't understand. I like my peace.
Mhm, mhm.
So I like my peace because I've been in the storm for so long that I like my peace now.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know whether a lot of people can understand what I
You
mean by
need you need to know chaos to
exactly,
understand peace for real.
exactly. So when you've been in the storm for so long, the only thing that you strive for is peace. And when
Mhm.
you get that peace, you don't want to give that peace up because it's like I need this. You know what I mean? That's the like take the place of the cigarette now. Like, okay, I need that peace now. You know what I mean? Because now I know that I'm in my era. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I'm where I need to be right now. So but let's go further because I'm gonna start going down that rabbit hole there. So let me go further. Um, Another thing that you need to do is develop your self confidence and your assertiveness. You know what I mean? Now that elevates that elevates your professional and your personal life.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You gotta have that self confidence. You know what I mean? And that's another big thing. You know, when I was in the military, one thing that you heard all the time is that can't is not a word. You know what I mean? Can't is not a word.
It's cannot, right?
Well, no. Period. That's not a word. That's not something you do. You
I'm
know what
just
I mean?
kidding.
You do like you do what you're told. There's no
Mm,
such thing as can't. You
right,
know what I mean? I can't do it.
right.
I
That's
can't
not
go
an
to work.
option. That's not an
Right,
option.
right. I can't run another mile. I can't do this. No. You take that can't out of your vocabulary.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I mean? Now, once you do that, that's that's going to raise your confidence and your assertiveness. You know what I mean? Now, you don't have to tell somebody I'm confident. You can tell
Right.
you can tell how somebody walk whether they're confident or not.
Yep.
You can tell, you can tell by somebody's presence, and you don't even know who they are, but you can say, I could tell that person is confident. You can tell by how they move,
I'll tell
what they
you an
say,
interesting
how they
story
think.
about that very thing. Is one time not that long ago, about a year ago, I was in Hollywood and I was actually doing like a short film with these fairly well known people, and so I'm sitting there. Well, we had done like a whole bunch of things. We were sitting there filming, and people were getting pulled left and right to do scenes and all this stuff. And by almost like halfway through, we're all standing around in a circle. And all of a sudden, I have someone look at me. The guy next to me looks at me and goes, "Dude, why didn't you tell any of us that you're amputated?" And then he stopped the whole room and he goes, "Hey, did anyone notice this dude? Like, did anyone see this?" And everyone's like sitting there going, "No, no one noticed," And I'm sitting there like, "Well, why would I say anything?" And he's like, "No, dude, I had no idea. Just your attitude alone, I would have never guessed." And I'm like, "Man, like my attitude is able to see what you guys see here." You know what I mean? Like there was no like if I would have came in there like, "Oh shoot, I'm feeling bad about this," or I'm feeling some sort of way about being amputated, let's just say, well, then people are going to read it. You know what I mean? But you go in there with confidence, you go in there yourself like that, dude. It's kind of a mind trip, really, especially when you put it into these terms. Absolutely. Facts.
Right.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Like I said, like it's not a lot of. I mean, it's not like it's a lot of things
Right.
that you have to do. It's just a lot of things that you really just haven't thought about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And just like what Stevie said right there, dealing with you. One thing that you have not done was use your disability as a crutch to do, you know what I mean, to not do something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You still ride your bike. You
I
still
actually
move
use it
around.
as an excuse to do things. I'll tell myself, well, I actually want to do this to see if I can do it. And number two, if I can do it, which I can, you know what I mean? If I can do it, I want to show everyone else how you can do it if you're in my situation.
Right.
So that's what I love doing. I mean, if you go on my YouTube or my Instagram, you'll see me bowling, you'll see me golfing, you'll see me doing all sorts of weird things, right? Am I doing it because those are the things I love? No, I wouldn't do that normally, but I do it just to be able to show that I can do it and to prove that I can do it. So it's kind of like a different mentality on that for sure.
Right. Okay. So what did you do? You just expanded your limitations
Right.
because that was
Just
something that even
just with
though
that.
that was something that when you had both legs that you wasn't doing.
Right. Correct.
But
That's
you doing
exactly what I was
now.
getting at.
But you're doing now as an amputee. So
Right.
that you know what I mean. So that tells you right there that you just expanded your limitations.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's rad to sit here and actually think about it. because it's true. You know, I've never done any of those. I wouldn't do those things for fun when I had 2 legs, for instance. Like I wouldn't do that. You know, that's totally not me if you know me. You know, I do a lot of these things now to be able to show that you can still conquer it. You know, because a lot of people need the visual representation. Hey, look, if he can do it, then I can do it type shit. And that is kind of where my videos I try to be, you know, showcasing the talent or whatever it is, and be able to show them, hey, look, you can be in his exact situation, which I have DMs all day long about this kind of stuff. Like if he can do it, then I can do it. And then they go, wow. I mean, I don't know how many people I've had that were 15-year amputees, 10-year amputees, had no idea that they could still ride a motorcycle. They had no idea. They thought it was gone for life. And then I've had people in those exact situations go, you know what? You did it. I'm going to try it. And then they'll go out and like film it or whatever and show me, wow, look at what I've been able to do. And it's like, wow. And that's exactly how you know, grow. And that's it. But you have to accept it up here too. I mean, not to, it has to be accepted up here because your mind state has to change. Like you said, facts.
Right, right. You know, another thing that goes along with that is, I should have said this earlier, but it kind of still falls in the same manner. But it's cultivating your growth mindset in the belief that your abilities and your intelligence can be developed further. You know what I mean? So that goes right along with, like I said, with changing your mindset and being able to get the right stuff that you need in order to be able to push yourself further than where you want to go. You know what I mean? Like, but you gotta think about it. Being average is cool. Just doing the regular day to day. If that's all you gotta do and that's all you want to do, then that's gonna be cool. You know what I mean? And then the first person that, you know, that says like, okay, this person's lazy, this person's this person don't want to do nothing, he don't want, you know what I mean? That's when you get all of that. You know, and a lot of times it's not really the fact that they're lazy, because sometimes, you know, whether you believe it or not, sometimes being lazy isn't always bad,
I've heard that before.
as long as you're not lazy all the time. You know,
Well, laziness shows it's actually a good thing in a couple of different aspects, but laziness is actually good because it actually tells us the things that we don't like and don't want to do. You know what I mean? Like that's literally, it's telling us those things. So if you can take that feeling and flip the script on it, you know what I mean? And once you can recognize it, that I'm doing this because I don't want to do this. Well, how can we make this better for your own sanity? You know, how can you accept it? You know, and it's almost like a game that you have to play. It's like a lock that you have to unlock. You know, it's interesting. It's a game that you have to play with yourself.
right? Exactly. This is, you know, this is you doing mind over matter with yourself. You know what I mean?
Totally,
Which is
totally.
weird because you having to, like, I know people, like, no, I ain't gonna say people, I'm gonna say myself. Back years ago, I used to have to psych myself to get up
Totally. I know exactly people that have been like that.
because you know, I worked this job that, even though, I mean, it was a good job and they paid the bills, I hated it. I hated the job. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I hated everything that came with it. You know, but I did it because that was what was taking care
Necessary.
of the bills.
Hmm.
That's what was, you know, paying the child support and everything else. I had to do it. You know what I mean? And like, I had to do it hurt. I had to do it sick. You know, I had to do it with, you know, with torn ligaments in my leg and everything else.
No PTO, no paid time
Do it.
off. You
Right.
know,
Right. I
you're
just had
working
to do
every
it.
day.
You know, because one thing for sure and two things for certain, bill collectors don't give a damn. And you know,
Yeah, I
and
know that.
your children will never understand what you had to go through. They never understand. You know, so, and usually that's your motivation.
Hmm.
Usually your kids are usually your motivation. Like,
Absolutely.
this is why I'm getting up. You know what I mean? And I remember mornings, it was like a routine thing that I would wake up 10 minutes before I was supposed to wake up and literally sit there and kick in the bed because I didn't want to fucking get up. You know
Wow.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and then get up and work your day, and the whole time you just waiting for 5 o'clock to come. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mhm.
oh my God, I hate this
Doing this
job.
the whole time. Man,
Right,
every
right,
hour or every minute feels like an hour. Yeah.
right, right. You just sitting there watching paint dry. It was horrible. But it wasn't. Later on, I found out that it wasn't just a job. It was other things that I wasn't happy with, and it took a toll on the job. The job wasn't that bad once I fixed the other stuff.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
everything kind of played along with it. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I blamed the job because that's what I did every day.
Yep. You were able to pinpoint that part, but
Right,
not, yeah,
right. Not
absolutely.
everything else, because everything else that you do, what do? You make an excuse to cover it. You know what I mean? Why didn't you do this? Oh, well, you see, I had to go do this. I had to go take care of that.
Whoop de whoop.
Okay. I thought you was going to the gym. I ain't seen you in 2 weeks. Well, the kids got this to do and this and that to do, and I had to go over here and do this. But when they doing that before you went to the gym, though, yeah, they were doing the same thing.
Right.
The only one that done switched up is you. Why'd you
Facts.
switch? You know what I mean? Because, like I said, it's easy. It's easy to go out there and start doing it. But if you don't change everything that goes around with that, to
Mhm.
reinforce it, to make sure that you go, then you're gonna go right back to the same thing, and you're gonna end up back at the house. That's just how
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
works.
You're very right, and it's funny that you were talking about the New Year's resolution stuff with the gym and stuff, for instance, because I have a buddy that goes to the gym literally every day, year round. That's his thing. And so when he got out of the gym yesterday, he was telling me, he's like, dude, it is unreal how packed it is in there. I go, really? Like, why is, I didn't really think of it. And he's like, yeah, because of these New Year resolutions, and it's like, well, hold on. Like that, I did forget about that. I mean, I'm not an owner of a gym. I'm not thinking about how many gym memberships I'm selling. But yeah, I can only imagine, by the third month, the people start trickling out. Absolutely. That's totally the way it is. And I don't know. It's definitely a trip because that's why for the most part I don't put the resolution stuff on from my New Year's ever. What I do is if I want a change in something, it could be New Year's Day or it could be February 2nd. It doesn't matter to me as long as I'm making that change. But people need like an actual motivation or a reason to do something when it should just be a daily thing. Like if you recognize something, you should go, okay, well, I'm going to change this. But not a lot of people have that execution in them to do, because that's one thing I have found out is like literally from what I've experienced, like 99% of Americans lack one thing, and that's execution. Execution and being able to stick with it. Facts.
Yep, yep, absolutely. You know, Another thing that you can think about is what is another thing that you hear all the time? A lot of people don't do certain things because they feel that their voice doesn't matter.
Mm.
Their
Mhm.
voice doesn't matter, and that goes along with embracing your own qualities and your own talents, and recognizing that you can achieve greatness and that your voice actually does matter. Even though you may think it doesn't, for whatever reason, it does.
Mhm.
But if you don't if you don't execute it, if you don't put it out there, then of course it doesn't. You know what I mean? If you're gonna let it go by the wayside, you know what I mean? Like, don't let something happen and then you be like, oh, well, I should have said this, or
Mhm.
maybe I
Mhm.
should have said it like that. You know what I mean? Do that when it happens.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Don't
Set
don't
that
sit there and
before
regret
home.
that you didn't. Yeah.
Right, right. So you sit there and dwell on that because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. You didn't take the steps to do it, and you know what I mean. And then now you sitting here feeling sorry for yourself. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Don't
Yeah,
do that.
definitely.
Don't do that, and don't put it on nobody else to feel like that. You know what I mean? Do it for yourself.
Yep.
You know,
Do it for your damn self. That's right.
right. You know what I mean? So like I said, it's not just like I said, it's not just one particular thing. It's a culmination of things, you know, but it can be done. It's obtainable, you know, and especially right now, being the fact that everybody's talking about, you know, the New Year's resolutions and wanting to start 24 off on a good note and actually be able to achieve what it is that you set out to do, whatever thing that you set out to do. If you want to achieve it, do what we talked about tonight. Just do that. You know what I mean? If you do the first one and change your
Alone.
mindset, if you do the first one and change your mindset, you you will be surprised about what all actually happens this year. You know what I
I
mean?
believe it.
You know, so think about it like this. Why come you ever notice how people say all the time that, you know, everything happens, it recurs every year. Like, why come this happens all the time?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Everything keeps recurring. The same thing happens every so many years. Why does it keep going on every so many years? Well, think about it. It goes every so many years because you never actually changed it from the beginning. If you changed it when it first happened, then you wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
have to worry about it recurring again because it's already been checked. It's already taken care of back then. You know what I mean? But if you half-assed it there, then it's going to come back to smack you in the face later on.
You got to conquer it, literally.
Right? And then you're going to have to deal with it again.
Damn. So yeah, I mean that makes total sense why you're going to revisit those same problems over and over again. Interesting.
Mhm.
Mm. Man. So yeah, I mean just changing your mindset. Imagine what you could do and what you can achieve just on changing one thing is, your mindset, your outlook on a lot of these things. A lot of the, like we were saying, like, oh, we don't want to do this because of one thing or another. It's like, no, you have to figure out a way to change that mind state and go, okay, I got to do this no matter what. And I'm going to be happy to do it because I will lead to X, Y, and Z or whatever. You have to look at the bigger picture a lot of the times and not be so focused on this one particular thing. You're going to allow this one little thing to ruin, the rest of the opportunities, the 75% that we're speaking on. You're going to ruin that. And you're only going to be tapped into your 25%, right?
Oh yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and you're going to keep reoccurring issues that are reoccurring. Why would you want to do that to yourself when you can actually make steps to stop this?
Right, right. And like I said, like, you know, every day you do something different. You know what I mean? Because it's a process, a step by step process. Every day you do a little something different. You do a little something different, a little more here, a little more here, and you know, by the time that you do that, and you sit back and you let a month or two pass by, and then you sit back and look, and you be like, man, it's already 3 or 4 months in. I ain't even realized time that went by that quick.
Time has
Look what I,
flown.
right, look what I picked up. You know, like I'll give you an example. When I came to you about doing this show,
Yep,
you know, it was an idea,
it
you know,
was.
and I came to you and I was like, hey, you know, I'm thinking about doing this show. I want to do this, this, this. What do I need? And I showed you what I had, and I had shit, you
Yeah,
know,
you had nada at the time. Yeah,
right? And you was like, okay, well, you need this, 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 and this, and you know, it's gonna take some time to do, but when you get it, let me know.
right.
How long did that take?
Oh, it was that
How-
dude. It was hilarious because he literally sent me a text like not even like a week and a half later. Everything all set up, all like new setup here. If you guys haven't seen a setup, it's actually really impressive, But yeah, yeah, it's amazing how well, because a lot of the times people come up with these grand ideas, these great ideas, but then they never execute them. Like, why would you come up with an idea and then not execute it? To me, that's as dumb as possible. Why would you come up ever with a good idea that is actually obtainable and then not follow through with it if you can do it? A lot of the times it does come down to, oh, well, I'll have to do this, I'll have to do that. Oh, you're scared of work? You know what I mean? Like you're scared to put in a little time and energy to this or research or whatever the case is. I mean, yeah, granted, I wouldn't tell people to do that if they aren't interested in doing this. But for instance, you coming to me and talking to me about that stuff, it shows me automatically you're interested. you know? So I knew off the bat, all right, he's interested, you know, and the way you would talk to me about it, you didn't just leave it at that. You execute it. And then not only that, then you went to the software and was like, all right, I'm going to learn everything.
Right.
That's what you do.
Right. You know, I've been I've been sitting up under this computer every day since I started getting this stuff together. I've been up on this computer every day, 5-6 hours a day,
Yep.
trying to learning these programs, learning how to edit, learning how to, you know, flip this and bounce this and what program works better here and what's going to help it, you know, go out further here and all, you know, what I mean, it is, I had no idea that it was so much stuff involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But at that point, it was like, you know what? I got to go all in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I done too much already. I got to go all in.
Yep.
So if I'm gonna go all in, I want to know everything.
Yep.
I want
I'm
to know how
the same way. Mm-hmm.
Right. I want to know how everything works. I want to know what every button means. I want to know, you know what I mean, that I can sit here and I can go bing, 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 and this is what it is.
Yep.
You know, because, you know, now it's like, okay, and I think I told you this before, when I get involved in something, I'm 100 miles an hour
Yep.
until
You
I get
are.
done.
Oh,
And
I
I'm gonna
know.
keep going. I'm gonna keep going until I get it. You know what I mean? And like this right here is just shows. It's like, you know, I was bound and determined I was gonna put this into existence, and that's what we did.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know,
And it was quick too, to be real, you know.
right? But I couldn't half-ass it though. I had to do it, and I knew, like, you know, like yeah, I've been, you know, what I mean, yeah, I've been doing the show for a couple years, whatever. But you know, what I mean, that was, you know, what I mean, Bone took care of all that. I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
to do all that. You know what I
Right.
mean? But you know, and he's good at that. He's
Right.
good at clicking them buttons and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I
Mm-hmm.
had no clue. You know what I mean? So when I actually decided that, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do, you know what I mean? And then once you got down to the nitty-gritty of all this stuff, because it's, you know, there's so many different programs and stuff that helps you do it, but you got to learn how to
You got to
to work
learn
the
each
program.
and one of those programs because they're all unique. You know, they have all different features, you know, and that goes with anything in life. But yeah,
Mhm.
you know, it's true. And the truth is, if you were to allow, oh, well, this is too overwhelming or whatever, you that's looking too far. You know, you have to, if you can't see the end of your goal, what you do is exactly what the chat actually said earlier. Papa said it is you just put one foot in front of the other. You know, you just continue pushing on. You can't stay stagnant. Staying stagnant is exactly that. And also the 75% of this job, this YouTube stuff, is being behind the computer and not the cameras on, not the StreamYard here running and us live. No, 75% of that job is being behind the computer every day or whatever, editing, clipping, figuring out programs, studying, whatever the case is, to better innovate. But that's the whole thing is being able to go, okay, chill. And all I need to do is put one foot in front of the other and learn this program first. And I'll let's say I'll YouTube this and I'll look up the best routes to do this or whatever. You're finding out ways to execute these problems. And it's really problem solving at the end of the day. And that's where my career before this, uh, which is essentially what I was hired to do. I ran my own marine petroleum operation on the waterfront. I was fueling ships coming in and out of the harbor for 10 years. You know, they'd be coming from China and stuff and they'd have to refuel. Well, that whole ordeal all day long, kind of like what you were saying with your haircut stuff. It's nonstop problems, but it's how you fix those issues. It's the same thing with what I learned in my career field was everything was problem solving. Like there was always a problem with everything, you know, and it's a matter of being able to like go, okay, how am I going to fix this problem? And then once I fix this problem, how am I going to fix this? It's planning it out almost, you know, and how you react to problems as well, because we can only control ourselves, right? So how we react to problems is a big thing as well, because a lot of the times the way we react, then we make ourselves overwhelmed and make the people around us overwhelmed too.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, guys, we've been on here for an hour. Well, hour 5 actually. That
Yep.
actually went by pretty quick. We ain't gonna have no 2-hour show tonight. We're gonna
No,
try to
yeah,
keep it
absolutely.
down.
We're gonna keep ourselves consolidated. You know what I mean? We're
Right,
gonna try our best so that we're not sitting here where everyone's going, okay, well, I got to tune off. I've been on here for 6 hours.
right,
Watching you guys. I got to go to bed and I got to attend to the wife and stuff. No, what we want to try to do is definitely put out the content that we can, put it out to you guys as quickly as we can, and man, it's going to execute our episodes even that much better and that much more, and be able to actually help us out on the editing side of stuff too, because we actually can consolidate stuff. There's a lot on the back end.
right, right. Before we get off here, let me say this. Like number one, I hope you all enjoyed the show. And Happy New Year to everybody. And like I said, I hope you all enjoyed the show about unleashing your inner badass for this year. Starting off on a positive track. Um, we all have it. We all do it. We all make these resolutions as stuff that we're going to change and stuff that we can do to make things better or whatever. And we all have good hearts when we think about it. Just somewhere along the way we end up slacking and end up going right back to the status quo. But this year, I hope in 24 that you stay with it. Don't let this be another year of start off strong, end weak.
Hmm.
Start off strong, end strong. Keep it consistent, one day at a time, step by step. You know what I mean? And don't don't let the struggle be what keeps you from doing what you need to do and being where you want to be. You know what I mean? The only thing dealing with the struggle is how much you gonna let it bother you. So if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. So like I said, I thank all of y'all for coming out. Don't forget, like, follow, subscribe, share. You ones that's on Facebook, that's watching on the group chat, come over to YouTube. Hit the subscribe button because here shortly we're gonna have to expand out to put these in different destinations, and it won't be played on the group chat.
Correct.
We're gonna have to expand these destinations. So if you own the group chat, go on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, so that way you get the alert. You can still watch the show just like normal. I mean, to the ones who's watching for the first time, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. The like button lets everybody know, lets YouTube know that we're out here. The
That's
subscribe
right.
button helps out with everything. So hit the subscribe button and hit that like button. You know what I mean? So like I said, it's there's been over, so many people on here today watching it live. We should have the same amount on the likes. You know what I mean? So like I said, it's just five, not even 5 seconds to hit that button. You know what I mean? Takes you exactly 0.5 seconds to hit that button. But like I said, I appreciate everybody. Appreciate your support. Let everybody know about the show. Come through. Like I said, every week we're gonna keep hitting you with something else, something else, something else. And like I said, I'm having fun now. You know what I mean? I've always had fun, but I'm really enjoying it now. So I appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate you, Mike, for being here. I don't
Vice
know what
versa.
happened to Bone. I don't know what happened to Big Bone today. I sent him the stuff. I don't know what happened to him, but
Hopefully everything is all right
yeah,
nonetheless.
yeah. So hopefully, whatever he got going on, he get taken care of, and we'll see him next week or whatnot.
Right. But absolutely. And guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Also, please make sure you're following our social medias. I'm going to put it right here real quick. Here's Archbishop's right here. His whole setup is right here, guys. His Instagram, his Facebook, his TikTok, and his Cash App. Make sure you guys are helping out the show in that regard if you guys can, by following the social medias and all that stuff. And my social media is Ball Valve TV. It's pretty much that's how it is. I'm any other platform aside from YouTube. But yeah, man, I can't thank you enough, Arch, and this was amazing topic all the way around. I really, really enjoyed this one, and I think people can really resonate with this one, because like we were saying, 2023 was a hard year for the majority of us. And these are things, tools, active tools to be able to implement in our lives to be able to have a better quality of life overall, right? So, you know, I can't thank you guys enough for being here in the chat as well. Like he was saying, everybody that came over from the Facebook group, thank you guys for being in there. I can't even believe it. We're over, what, 500 and some odd members, and we've been at it for 2 weeks, man. And that's a major, major blessing from all of you guys. The support's unreal. So, and like he was saying, make sure that you guys flop over to the YouTube, because we're not going to be posting it forever on Facebook. It's going to be maybe 2 or 3 more episodes, and then boom, you know, that's be on the lookout for the YouTube. So we're going to be pushing that.
Right.
So,
yeah. See, we're trying to get everybody over there because, like I said, the actual group channel is exploding. You know what I mean? I am actually shocked how many people hit that all at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So
For real.
That group chat has literally only been, I put that out Christmas Day.
Wow.
And so we're going at a week. Well, 8 days. 8 days now. And it's over 500 in 8 days, which is great.
Shoot, not even 7.
Right. That's great numbers. And it's steady climbing. But what I need also is the ones that's on there to come over here and hit the subscribe button. So that way we got the same number over here as we do over there. So
try to even it out.
Right. So that way you can still watch the show, but we can be able to reach out. You know, because you gotta think about it like this. This platform was done for a reason. Next show I'll fill you in. That's the reason why this platform is important, because you're able to reach out to the masses and give the right information. You know what I mean? So in order to be able to give the right information and be able to spread out, we got to be able to hit more links to be able to go out and give the message out to the people that need it. So all you ones that's on the group chat, come over, hit the link that's in there. As a matter of fact, there's a couple of them that's in the group chat. Hit the link, go over, hit the subscribe button. Take you literally 10 seconds. Hit the button, put you over on this side. And once we get everybody over there, then we can expand it and push this out a little bit further.
That's right. Well, nonetheless, guys, thank you guys from the bottom of our heart. And we'll see you guys in 7 days on the Diamond Effect, man. Thank you guys again for being here. And we're going to leave you guys with a little bit of Joker. Appreciate you guys. I'm out.
Wait, tattoos all on my face. Hey, I can see in their face. I know I'm pop. We know you not. Joker, gang. You hear the lie.
You say you gang, but we don't know your name. We been had the clout, we been had the fame. We been getting money, we making it rain. This here no joke, we don't need a scope. Everyone talking, but we never broke. I carry the weapon when I go outside, man, don't try to provoke. You go down like a slope. Wait, we got tats on our face. We got straps on our waist. Getting money, we straight. I know they hating, I know they plotting. I let them all watch. Can't ever do what we do. I put my painted tattoos.
Wait, tattoos all on my face. Hey, I can see in their face. I know I'm pop. We know you not. Joker.